Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Lime Rock Park for round 1 of the 2014 Season 3 Club UK and Ireland Skip Barber Championship. Wilvinson here on RaceSpotTV and BSR-TV. Don't forget you can follow me at Wilvinson, Facebook.com/I am Will Vincent as well. Qualifying is taking place as we speak. I'm going to roll back the clock to show you what is going on right now in qualifying in just 1 moment's time. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, there will be 12 seasons, 12 races even, that make up this Club UK and I Skip Barber Championship. They'll all be here live on RaceSpot TV. So then we've got cars currently circulating on the racetrack as we speak. Let's go and have a look at some of them right now as they are circulating around. And we're going to start off by having a look at the guy running in 7th. Well, now down to 8th position, Graham Carroll in the 00 car. Qualifying time for him so far, 58.011. And you can see the ticker running along the side of your screen for qualifying. As it stands right now, you have got yourselves quite a few cars running in this event. We've got a couple of people still out on the racetrack. Simon Povey right now, he is circulating. He's currently scored 3rd place in qualifying. This is going to be his final lap as he works himself out of the final corner and towards the start-finish line. Yeah, you see from behind the trees as he comes down towards the start-finish line. Simon Povey will be able to improve on his time. He was 3rd and he is going to stay in the 3rd position for the time being. His time is done for qualifying. So, a couple of people, no, actually now everyone has done their qualifying laps almost. We've got Tom Stanley scored on the racetrack, running himself in the 20th position overall. We are going to work on board with him for just a moment's time as he works himself on the racetrack, and now he's coming himself down towards the start-finish line. This will be his 4th and final lap also. And will he be able to improve on 20th position? The answer to that one is going to be yes, he will, up into P number 17. Jonas Van Werk right now is scored in the 26th position overall, working himself down towards the end of the lap loss. Now, best time for him even, is a 59.495, running a little bit wide there as he works himself up the hill. 2 more corners to go for him. And let's ride on board with Jonas Van Werk in that number 516 car. He runs wide. That might invalidate his lap there as he walks down towards the final corner of the racetrack. So it was P26 for Verke. It is now P23 for him as he completes his lap. So that pretty much now is all of the drivers qualified. We have got one guy still turtling around on the racetrack. That is the car you see on your screen there, the number 69 car of J.E. Hyde. But what we're going to do is we are going to try and get you one of the laps from the guys currently scored in pole position. In fact, he will be classified in pole position. That guy is Sebastian Job. And we are going to try and get a couple of laps on board of him in just one moment's time to show you the speed he has had so far in this session. J.E. Hyde working himself, just getting himself one extra lap as he brings that car back down onto pit road in that number 69 car. What we are going to do, however, is we are going to go and have a look at Sebastian Job. Let's ride on board of Job then. You see, this is actually when he went off the racetrack, coming out of pit road in that ARTV car. But we are going to stay with him as he prepares for his warm-up lap and then his first hot lap himself. He sets his fastest lap of the lot on his fourth and final lap. In fact, we are going to skip ahead to showing you the laps 3 and 4 right now. So this is Sebastian Job working himself down into turn 1. Let's ride along board with him a lap from your pole position sitter here at Lime Rock Park. There you are then, a lap in the books for Sebastian Job, and it is now, however, time to head ourselves very slowly down to the race grid, and the cars are beginning to line up now on that race grid itself. And to run through it, it is going to be, as we get rid of this one and show you your overall grid, it is going to be Sebastian Job starting here today on pole position. Simon Holbert will line up alongside him in that front row of the grid. Row number 2 will be Simon Povey and Mark Mercer. Then we'll head ourselves on to row number 3. Dominic Brennan in P5 and Fahim Antodes in P6. Richard Avery and Clark Williams in P7 and 8 respectively, with George Wiseman and Graham Carroll rounding out your top 10. George Lambert, Tim Adcock in P11 and 12. And then row number 7, Clive Armstrong and Richard Jones. Alan Patterson and Sam Everest in row number 8. Then Tom Stanley, Rick Paul in row 9. Robert Plumley and Rob Marshall round out your top 20. Rest of qualifying times are coming up on your screen momentarily as we get set to go racing here at Lime Rock Park. 31 guys have made the trip over to Lime Rock Park, 2 inside of qualifying time. There you see them up on your screen. But it is going to be Sebastian Job starting this race today from pole position. You see the cars are lining up on the race grid now. They're getting set to go racing here today for 25 laps around this Lime Rock Park circuit. Expect it to be incredibly fast racing. As we're having a look now from your pole sitter, that is the view he has behind him as he gets set to go racing in that number 17 car. Those lights will go on top of the iRacing.com gantry in just one moment's time. And it is going to be absolutely phenomenal racing here at Lime Rock Park. Yeah, you see your field are lined up on the grid. And lights about to go on top of the iRacing.com gantry. This race, the first round of the season, will start
green, green, green
right now. And there you see Job getting a good start from pole position. All of those cars bringing themselves down towards turn number 1 for the first time. Job will get the early lead as they all storm it down into turn number 1. There's 2 free ride racing through the pack as they work themselves through those first couple of corners. There you see your race leader, Sebastian Job. 2 wide racing going on behind them. As you look down the pack, it looks like everyone is being able to get through those first couple of corners. Almost free ride racing in the middle of the pack there. The 961 car working himself. That is Tom Stanley. We're right on board of him. He is having a great dance right now in that 16th position on the racetrack. These cars will be running very close together. It is hard to get a gap here at Lime Rock, and the draft could be important over the course of this event. So then, there is Sebastian Job. There he is, your race leader, as he will come down to complete lap number 1 of 25 here at Lime Rock Park. Having a look from the rear of this car, you can see, however, though, a battle going on for position behind him. This is going to be the battle for P2. There you see Simon Holbert. He's looking down to the, I'm sorry, he's got a car going down to his inside. He will lose that position there, and that will be the number 44 car being passed, as Simon Povey now going up into that 2nd place on the racetrack. Give you an update then, it does look as though that everyone has been able to make it for the most part through lap number 1. We've got 2 people out of the race. Shotrix didn't start this race, and Roy Paul is actually still classified, but he is running at the very rear of the field right now. Having a look through the field, you can see it is incredibly tight racing. A little bit of 2 wide racing going on around the mid-pack right now. We're going to check in with Sam Everest right now. We're going to ride along board with him, running in that 17th position right now in that treble 7 machine as they work themselves down towards the final corner again. Load of blind faith you need at this corner, trying to get a run, move himself up a position, not gonna happen for him. But then we have still got all of these guys running, but it is Sebastian Job. There is your guy leading right now, but there is the gap to Simon Povey behind him, just half a second on the racetrack right now. Simon Povey in turn has got himself about 3/10 of a second advantage over Simon Holbert in that battle for the 2nd position. Holbert himself has about a 6/10 of a second advantage over Mark Mercier, and then running at your top 5 is Dominic Brennan, and there you see the times up on your screen right now. Looks like the field is settling down, but we are once again going to go and check in with Tom Stanley, because he is close to making a pass. There you see, as we ride on board with him, he is going to get that job done. As he goes a little bit wide there, and that's the number 14 car he was made the pass on. That 14 car will just stay behind for the time being as they work themselves through that final corner. Stanley moving himself up 2 positions in 1 lap now to the 15th spot on the racetrack. And here comes Carroll trying to make a pass on the outside there of that number 18 car of Richard Avery. Avery has got that job done into turn number 1. Avery moves himself up into the 8th position right now on the racetrack. So Avery having a good start to this race as we have a look from the rear of his car, running himself in a P8 right now. Since the start of the race though, he has dropped 1 position. That is to Clark Williams, who has moved himself now up into 7th place on the racetrack as we work on lap 4 of 25 there, side-by-side racing through this pack. And here you see the number 9 car is going to go down and try and make a pass on the number 8 machine of Fatima Donez, and that 9 car will indeed move himself ahead. And there is what you see from Antonez. Is going to try and make that pass back down on the inside as they come down into turn number 1 again. You've got 2 wide racing going on ahead of him, but Fahim Antonez is going to go down to the inside, and he will complete that pass there on that 9 car. 2 wide racing behind as well. Antonez going to get that job done, but not by much. You can see those 2 wide racing right behind them. 2 wide, almost 2 deep there as they work themselves through corner number 1 and 2 on the racetrack. And we'll bring the ticker up along the bottom of your screen. You see it's Job now with a 1.5 second advantage over Povey, who in turn is got a 1.5 second advantage even over Holbert, who runs in 3rd. But this is very close running here in the mid-pack of the field, and these are guys right now running in P7, 8, 9 and 10. We're having a look on board now with Graham Carroll. You can see he's got George Wiseman right behind him as they bring themselves onto the front straightaway once again. Carroll trying to close down. That is Williams now as they work themselves down into turn number 1 one more time. We've got Simon Holbert by the looks of him. Something has happened to Simon Holbert. He is falling down our timing and scoring screens. We are going to see if anything has happened to him, but we are getting word that potentially Simon Holbert could be classified as out of the race. We're going to replay up. Let's see if we can see anything from that. Unfortunately, we can't. Simon Holbert is, however, classified as out of the race for the time being. So then let's go back to the action. Let's have a look at George Wiseman. He is running in that 9th spot right now. And there you see this huge gaggle of cars all the way from this guy here, the number 8 machine of Fahim, who of course he's been able to get himself up now, running inside the top 5. And that train of cars, you see it there on your screen, just running too wide, a little bit of racing right now. So running too wide out of the final corner on the racetrack. They have settled themselves down again, but that was the double O car there of Graham Carroll and Richard Avery battling for position. You can see Avery there trying to look on the outside as he's now down into the 8th position on the racetrack, and that is Graham Carroll who is battling with Carroll, able to get that job done over Richard Avery, who is right now got himself about a 0.2 of a second advantage over George Wiseman in that battle for P8. But that train in the mid-pack is incredibly strong right now. Let's go and check in with your race leader. This guy here, Sebastian Job. He has led every single lap of this race. Last time by set, his fastest lap of the race, it was a 57.764. That is the fastest lap we have seen in this event so far. But behind them, you can see it on your screen, very close racing that round. Mercier is involved in the battle with Povey. And there you can see as we ride along board with Mercier even trying to go down to the outside, down into turn number 1. 78 car is going to go past him, and the 212 car both going to go past him as well. Mercier down into the 4th spot, running wide a little bit there, down into turn number 2, and he is going to get that job done though, and move himself back up into the 3rd position as he gets himself past Dominic Brennan, who is running right now in that 4th place on the racetrack. But Simon Povey, whilst all that was going on, he has now fallen to 3.1 seconds behind your race leader. Make that about 3.2 seconds as it stands right now. So Sebastian Job is charging away in that ARL TV car as they bring themselves down to complete their 8th lap of this event. And your top 5 as it stands right now is Sebastian Job from Simon Povey, Mark Mercier, Dominic Brennan, and then Fahim is running himself in the 5th position, as it does look as though that Mercer's going to try and look around the outside as they come down into turn number 1. Not quite close enough there to get the job done over Simon Povey. This is the battle for P2 currently going on the racetrack. Is going to steal it down the inside. He tried, but Mark Mercer's not going to be able to do it. But you see that Povey spins that car. There you see it from a onboard camera. Mark Mercer being able to pressurize Povey into mistake, and he is going to fall way down the field. You can see we can get a replay of that from Simon Povey, as it looks like he might actually be classified now as out of the race. Replay up on your screen. So there we are then, Simon Povey, you can see coming down out of turn number 1. He was put under pressure by Mercier, and then he just runs a little bit wide coming out of the corner, spins that car around, gets it onto the grass, and from here it is incredibly difficult to get it back onto the racetrack. You'll get yourself a slowdown penalty as well, and I think for Povey you thought it might as well just bring that car onto pit road. We'll get one more replay of that as we look on board from Simon Povey. So this is it then, coming down into turn number 2. The car, I see, we talked about Mercer on the inside. Looks like that Povey just got his line a little bit wrong, spinning that car around. And then you will see this gaggle of cars all storming past him as he falls well down the field, and he actually then decides to bring that car onto pit road. Decided it was just too unsuitable for him to keep that car on the racetrack, trying to bring it back in the way it is. Having a look then on board, look at this, 2 wide racing ahead of him, and here we see as we ride on board with Richard Avery. He's got himself a number 18 machine to the left hand side of him, very close racing, some of the number 9 car to the inside of him, and also the double O just ahead of him. Richard Avery in a 3-car scrap with Graham Carroll and Clark Williams as they come down to complete lap number 11 here. Is Avery going to look down to the outside? The answer to that one is going to be yes, he is. And there we see from our onboard camera, side-by-side racing into turn number 1. Doesn't look as though Avery is going to be able to get that pass complete, however. So Graham Carroll able to hold on right now in what is this battle for the 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th positions on the racetrack. And look how close that is right now as we're having a look from the rear of Graham Carroll's car as they bring themselves down towards this uphill section of the racetrack. This is where things get mighty fast. And you see 1, 2, 3, 4 cars separated by no more than 1.5 seconds in total. And whilst all of this is going on, you actually have these two guys right here as well, Clive Armstrong and Rich Jones, closing in on this mix. And the number 37 car, as we ride on board with him, see that bumblebee on the front of his car. His last lap was a 58.364. Clark Williams was about a second slower, and all of those guys in that train are running the 59-second range. Clive Armstrong is running in the 58.3 second range, and that means that we are going to get a 6-car battle, as we just saw it there on the edge of our screen. Two wide racing once again. Graham Carroll and Richard Avery continuing their battles. George Wiseman and Clark Williams getting their noses involved in it as well. As we have a look now from the rear of Richard Avery, as we are going to get the halfway point as actually they come up the hill. Sebastian Job does continue to lead the way, however, in this race. And you see Avery getting himself a little bit loose as they work themselves out of that corner. But these gaggle of cars behind, they are coming, and they are coming mighty quickly. And here you can see the gap now. George Wiseman to Clark Williams, that is absolutely nothing. Clark Williams to Clive Armstrong, it was 2.5 seconds. It is now down to just 1.8 seconds on the racetrack. It is coming down by the lap. As you see again, two wide racing, and here comes Avery again looking to the outside in this battle for P5 on the racetrack. Is he going to make it happen this time by? The answer is yes, he is. He's going to get himself ahead now of Clark Williams. So the replay coming up on your screen. Here it is. They come down into turn number 1, 2 by 2, coming down into the corner. You see Avery on the outside there of that 00 car of Clark Williams. In fact, you had a car going off there as well, and that was that guy, Graham Carroll. That is the reason why Avery was actually able to get himself up a position. We'll have a look at that again on board with Carroll. This is him coming now down past the start finish line, and you'll actually see they have a car to his inside. That is Avery, and then he just locks up, almost actually clobbers Avery down into turn number 1. Then you see trying to get that car back onto the racetrack. The dirt, the grass is so slippery here at Lime Rock Park, and he falls down into the 10th position on the racetrack. Battle for P2 is hotting up right now. Mark Mercier, of course, who was able to get past Simon Povey after he pressured Povey into a mistake, but he hasn't been able to get himself yet ahead of this guy. Sorry, having a look at the wrong guy right here. Ahead of this guy, Dominic Brennan, who right now is running himself in the 3rd position on the racetrack. Brennan is up 2 places since the drop of the green flag here, since those lights went out at Lime Rock Park in this 25-lap event. Running in the 3rd place, his last lap was a 58.828, pretty much identical to Mark Mercier as they come down towards turn number 1 again. And just behind, actually, you see once again very close racing going on down the pack here. You've got a lap car just getting out of the way, allowing all of these fast cars to go by. So very respectful racing for him, as his back does seem to be settled down in the mid-pack right now. Now Avery's got himself into some clean air. He has bolted away just a little bit. We're checking out on him actually, see where he is, but Richard Avery has now got himself about a 0.5 second gap as we have a look from the rear of him. And this is compared to Clark Williams in this battle for P5 on the racetrack. Williams actually been able to close up a little bit on this lap over Richard Avery, but there it is on your screen right now as we are going to have 10 laps to go this time by for Sebastian Job in this 25-lap event. Really is a sprint race here at Lime Rock Park. These guys are going to need to make a pit stop. They are going to have to come onto pit road for tyres, and there you see 10 laps to go now for Sebastian Job in this event. And Dominic Brennan is going to try and have a look down to the outside for P number 2. Not going to be close enough. Will he try and do to Mercier? You know what Mercier did to Povey a little bit earlier on. Brennan actually going to look to the outside. Going to stay in line. Just taking a bit of a wider line to avoid hitting the rear. Gets good momentum out of this corner. But Brennan and Mercier, this battle continues right now. for what is P2, P3 on the racetrack. So they just work behind the trees there. And there you see the gap in your screen. It is absolutely nothing. Just 0.2 of a second. George Lambert right now, I'm checking in on him, and he is having a very close battle right now. In this battle for the 11th position on the racetrack, to ride on board with him in that GR racing car. Trying to close up to the rear of Rich Jones, and the gap between those two right now is 0.3 of a second, as they've now got themselves just 9 laps to go in this event. And that battle we were talking about earlier, Clark Williams, here he comes. He is looking down to the inside, and this is the pass over Richard Avery for P5 on the racetrack. And it does look as though like Clark Williams is going to get that job done over Avery. Will Avery try and come back into turn 2? We have seen some guys do that. No, he won't. Clark Williams will keep himself now up in the 5th place on the racetrack for the time being. And he, since the drop of the green flag here today, has moved up 2 positions, qualified in 7th, now running in P number 5. Doesn't look as though Avery is done yet, as it's the Avery right behind him in that number 18 car. We're going to ride on board with him, as this is the best battle we have still got on the racetrack for the time being. And you see, down out of the final corner we go. Will Richard Avery try and actually get that pass done once again? You see he's got the speed and momentum out the final corner. He will look down to the inside of that number 9 machine, and Richard Avery is going to return the favour. Down he goes. Pass is complete. So then, just 8 laps to go in this event, as we've got Graham Carroll involved in an incident there. Graham Carroll is involved in an incident. Let's see if we get ourselves a replay of that. I believe it is with Jonas van Werken, but we'll get confirmation of this in just one moment's time. Here is Graham down into turn number 1. Let's see if we can see what happens. Oh, he just got clobbered there. The double O car just getting absolutely clobbered. We'll try and get ourselves another replay. That was a 516 car involved in that one as well. But what a moment there for that double O car, just being punted off of the racetrack. And that was Jonas van Werken, yeah. And we were talking about Jonas van Werken. He actually, I think he just came too hot into the corner. Got that car, spun around. They actually made contact there with the number 79 also. So it became a 3-car incident. We'll get one more look, actually, this time. We'll try and go on board with Van Werken down into turn number 1. Does look as though he's slowing down. Then he actually just made contact down into the corner. And now you'll see this as well. He just makes contact with the number 79 car as well. That is not what he would have wanted to have happened in his race. He is now going to be done as out. So then, your race leader in this event is still Sebastian Job, who has led every single lap of this event so far. There you see him up on your screen, as he's going to have 6 laps to go this time by. The gap between himself and Dominic Brennan, who now runs in 2nd position after being getting himself past Mark Mercier, is 4.2 seconds on the racetrack. But an interesting point is Sebastian Job had a slow lap that last time by a 1:01 lap time. We'll get that one up on your screen for you. Confirmation, a 1:01.6 there for Sebastian Job, compared to a 57.7 for Dominic Brennan. So something had happened to Sebastian Job. We are getting word that potentially it could have been as he was trying to get himself through that melee down into turn number 1. He was around that point on the racetrack at the time. As you see, he has got a little bit of lap traffic that he's just going to try and pass right now, right on board him as he comes through the final corner. So there you see Sebastian Job getting himself past that lap traffic this time by. There will be 5 laps to go here at Lime Rock Park. Gaps to settle down in some places, not in this place, however. We're going to ride on board with, guess who? Clark Williams involved in a battle with, and yes, that's right, you've got it. That guy, the number 18 car of Richard Avery, down into turn number 1. Williams running a little bit wide that time by. Avery is going to be able to get that position back, and they almost touched there out of corner number 1. So then, Clark Williams has been involved in this battle with Avery. And of course, you've also got George Wiseman in that mix as well. Now, Wiseman, is up 2 positions since the drop of the green flag to start this event in that number 26 Castrol car, as he's right behind the number 9. I did just hear, actually, yeah, we've got Mark Mercier upside down. Mark Mercier, something has happened to him. Let's try and get ourselves a replay. We did just hear a loud thud, but something has happened to Mark Mercier. Let's have a look. He just clips a wall. Oh, look at that, into the arm code barrier, up and over, making contact there. Let's get one more replay. Those of you who have got epilepsy, I'd look away right now, because this could be a rather scary moment. Mark Mercier in that number 33 car, coming down corner, up the hill he comes, just gets loose like car bottoms out, upside down there for Mark Mercier, and he is now classified as out of the race. But George Wiseman right now in that number 26 car is involved in a little bit of a tete-a-tete, and I have to say one thing, actually, that this guy, we haven't talked about him for a while. He has all of a sudden been caught as well. Fahim Antonades running himself in 3rd place, but he has got traffic behind him. Clark Williams potentially looking to try and steal a podium right now. Of course, as Mercier, who was running in P3, has given that place up after he slammed into the arm code barrier about a lap and a half ago in this event. There you see P3, P4, P5 and P6 as they all just come past. And there is now just 3 laps to go in this event. Anything can happen. A little bit further back, we've got a car off as well. We're trying to see if we can tell who that is. But we did just have a car off on the racetrack. We're getting word that it's potentially Stuart Pomfrey. Indeed, it was. Get a replay up to see exactly what happened to him. But Pomfrey scored well down the field now, as we might have had another incident involving Curtis and Hyde as we cut away. There you see the incident there for that number 36 car, and we are getting word that potentially we have got a couple of cars on pit road. There were people we feel might have been involved in one of these incidents a little bit earlier on in this event, as Glenn Dawson also has got his car beached on the racetrack, and confirmation there, that number 15 car bringing it back down onto pit road. All action kicking off in the last stages of this event as some of them trying to get themselves back out onto the racetrack. Here comes Clark Williams, so look at this gap. This is going to be small. He's going to try and get a run. He's going to have to go the long way. In fact, there might be 3 wide down into turn number 1. You see a little bit of lap traffic ahead of him. Clark Williams trying to go around the outside. He's made this pass before, but the 2 made contact there. Clark Williams pushed out into the gravel. Let's get a replay of that. Clark Williams down into turn number 1, pushed up into the gravel, and this is the pass that you see, working themselves down the front straight away, coming down in towards turn number 1, and this is between Clark Williams and we believe it was also Fahim in that number 8 car. There you see Clark Williams put onto 2 wheels, spun around, and the guy who was trying to get 3rd place all the way down now into 8th place on the racetrack. It just shows how this close racing means anything can change in an instant. Wiseman right now all over the rear of Richard Avery in this battle for P4, P5 on the racetrack. However, this guy, Sebastian Job, has just taken the white flag. There is 1 more lap to go here in the first round of the 2014 Season 3 Club UK&I Championship. This guy, Sebastian Job, has had an absolutely storming race. He has got himself a 3.7 second cushion right now over Dominic Brennan, and Brennan has been able to reel him in the last couple of laps. However, Job has just kept his cool, his composure, and it looks as though he might be heading for a victory very closely. We have got a battle going on right now. Keith Sharp, you see him there in that number 32 truck, trying to make a pass over Alan Patterson. We'll come back to that one at the end of the race, because Sebastian Job working himself down the hill for the final time. He is going to come out of the final corner. Winner of round number 1 of the championship is going to be Sebastian Job in that number 17 car. What a victory for him here today. Coming home in second, Dominic Brennan in that 212 car. And then to round out your top 3 is going to be that guy, Fahim Antonades. He will come home in P3. Richard Avery just able to hold on to take 4th. And then George Wiseman rounds out your top 5. Clive Armstrong in 6th. You can see the gap between himself and Lambert mighty close at the end. Just a couple of seconds between them. And then Clark Williams, Tim Adcock rounds out your top 10. There you see Adcock, he comes home in 9th. Tom Stanley, there you see him, he rounds out your top 10 as the cars all just finishing themselves off. But for Sebastian Job, that guy, he is your victor here today from Lime Rock Park in that ARL TV car. And he has just been absolutely dominant, leading all 25 of 25 laps in this event. So, ladies and gentlemen, to run through your final race results, Sebastian Job there taking victory in a time of just over 25 minutes. Dominic Brennan coming home in the second place overall. Fahim Antonides coming home in third. George Wiseman in fourth. Richard Avery in fifth. Clive Armstrong in sixth. George Lambert, Clark Williams, Tim Adcock and Tom Stanley, they round out your top 10. Over to page number 2 then, and it is Alan Patterson who comes home in 11th. Keith Sharp will come home in 12th. Robert Plumley in 13th. Luke Ridgway in 14th. And then Mark Mercer rounds out your top 15. Of course, Mercer was running in third place until those last couple of laps when he fell down the field after clambering the wall in turn number 6. Gavin Long 16th. Sam Everest in 17th. Rick Paul, Rich Jones and Murray A. Coots rounds out your top 20. Then finally, J.E. Hyde, Glenn Dyson, Bobby West, Stuart Pomfrey, Graham Carroll, Jonas Van Werk, Simon Povey, Rob Marshall, Simon Holbert and Chris Martin. There your top 30. And we have just one person, and he is a DNS in this event. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being a part of our coverage here on RaceSpotTV and BSR TV for round 1, number 1 of the 2014 Season 3 Club UK&I Skip Barber Championship from Lime Rock Park. Don't forget, one more time, you can follow me on Twitter at Will Vincent, facebook.com/I am Will Vincent as well, and we'll be back with you in just 1 week's time for round number 2 of the championship. Thank you very much once again for being part of our coverage. Don't forget, we've got ourselves IndyCar racing coming to you from Watkins Glen this Friday, 8 PM GMT, as drivers try to break the all-time road soft record in what is the hottest property on iRacing right now. Check that one out Friday, 8 PM GMT. RaceSpotTV, also your home for the 2014 iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series, the ISOWC IndyCar Series, the Neo Endurance Series, and coming soon, the 24 Hours of Spa. See you in a week, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over